stock car racing, but we'll park the four-wheelers tonight. A capacity crowd has turned out on a chilly night at Memorial Stadium for the excitement of AMA Camel Supercross. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Dave Despain, along with ESPN analyst Larry Myers, the man who has been predicting that we have not seen the best yet of Jean-Michel Bayle and Jeff Stanton, the two men who dominated last year's Supercross series. Looks like maybe your predictions are beginning to bear out.
Well, you're making me look good. What has happened, of course, is the Honda riders, Bayle and Stanton, have upped the ante just a little bit. They're riding a little bit harder than I think they were a couple of races ago. They spent a lot of time, Dave, working on the motorcycles with their mechanics, doing a lot of testing, and it's paid off. They're going to be a factor in this before it's over, I guarantee it.
It's paid off with a couple of victories, and we need to go back and show you exactly how we got to this point. Remember that Damon Bradshaw had won 5 straight Supercross races. Then the venue shifted. The Outdoor National Motocross Series opened at Gainesville, Florida. Same riders, much different racetrack, and a much different outcome, because Jeff Stanton won the race when Bradshaw suffered first a crash and then stomach cramps. Nonetheless, it was a convincing Honda victory in round 1 of the Nationals. Then back to Supercross, but an unusual Supercross. The Daytona race is on a big, fast, sandy racetrack. Unlike anything else in the circuit, the outcome was the same as the previous week. It was a Stanton versus Bradshaw shootout, and Jeff Stanton won the race and broke Damon Bradshaw's Supercross win streak. So now we come to Charlotte to find out if Damon can rekindle that streak, or if indeed there's been a turning point here as far as the Hondas are concerned.
Well, I don't think we have seen the turning point just yet, but we could see it here tonight. Bradshaw and Bayle undoubtedly riding harder than they have been riding all season, riding better too. And if they do well here in Bradshaw's backyard, if they can do well, maybe even beat him, then I think that we're looking at a whole new series, Dave.
Well, that sounds like a possible prediction for future success for Team Honda. Let's get a different opinion, perhaps, from the floor of the stadium where Ralph Shaheen is standing by.
Dave, let's not forget where we are. Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Damon Bradshaw's backyard, and there's nothing like performing in front of your home crowd to inspire a rider to perform at his best. Damon Bradshaw's been doing that already this year. 5 wins and a huge points lead. It's going to be tough for anybody to knock Damon Bradshaw off.
Well, Larry, that sounds like a clear-cut Damon Bradshaw prediction to me. You've already picked Honda. I guess I'll take one of the Kawasaki riders to win, and we'll come back in a little bit to find out who's right. Stand by for more from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're back in Charlotte, North Carolina, and when coming to Charlotte for Supercross, one name comes to mind. Ralph Shaheen toured the crowd to find out who they're pulling for.
Who do you guys cheer for? Damon Bradshaw!
Bradshaw! Damon Bradshaw!
Damon Bradshaw! Who do you cheer for?
Tim Bradshaw.
Here is the most famous member of the Bradshaw family being honored here in the spotlight tonight. Damon Bradshaw in front of the hometown crowd. A race he won last year on a track that will challenge them all.
Memorial Stadium, the smallest floor that we have visited this year. The track is much tighter, much more confining. Going to be a lot of shoving out here tonight, Dave.
We'll look back to the highlights of heat race number 1. Field comes to the gate to qualify the top 5 riders directly to the championship main event. Drop of the gate. Hey, who picked the Kawasaki's to win tonight? It was Dave Despain. Into the lead goes Jeff Ward. Big tangle in turn number 1 as they battle for position. As you said, it's a tight field pushing and shoving. Number 8, Jeff Emig, caught back in the traffic. Not one Kawasaki, but 2 out front as the veteran and the kid have at it. Number 9 moving into the lead there just as Jean-Michel Bayle crashes. Jeff Matasevich takes over the front spot. This is your series champion on the ground, hooked in the bales, caught in the banners, and off to a terrible start here as he tries to get Team Honda back on track.
Well, not only Jean-Michel Bayle, but Jeff Stanton suffering problems in this heat race. Here's a quick look. In the back of the pack, you'll see Stanton coming around the corner, rider number 2. Now take a look. You'll see Bayle on the ground. Not a particularly good look at the crash. When you're on the ground looking up, it really doesn't matter.
Bayle doing a little catching up here as he chases after the 2 Kawasaki's out front. But Matasevich trying to get back to full form, makes no bones about the fact that he is less than full speed. because of the broken right femur, suffered some 6 months ago. We talked about it every race this year. He gets better every race this year. Jeff Ward, on the other hand, has had a terrible season. This is farewell tour in Supercross. Tonight has at least got a good heat race going forward.
You have to wonder about Jeff Ward. Certainly the speed is still there. We have seen it all season long, but the staying power is not. And I don't know if it's because Ward is just no longer interested in being competitive, Dave, or if he's having problems. It's hard to tell.
This is Kalos versus Cooper. Behind the leaders, they race for 3rd and 4th. Sean Kalos out of Arizona, and airtime Cooper around the outside. Great pass. Boy, this guy's having an aggressive year.
I think we ought to call him corner time, the way he whipped through that bank left-hander. He just got the drive. He was up high and said goodbye with a handful of throttle.
So it's Matasevich stretching out his lead a little over Ward, who appears content with 2nd spot and a direct transfer to the championship main event. Matasevich celebrates before a capacity crowd. Ward takes his checker, bound for the main event, hoping to change his luck. Cooper and Kalos round out the transfer position. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen with the winner.
Oh, you made that one look a little bit easy.
Yeah, I'm riding really good. My bike's working really well for this track, and I just can't say enough for my mechanic, Jerry Campbell. We've been working really close together, and everything seems to be coming along just as good.
He was giving you some messages to keep thinking. Were you losing a little concentration out there?
No, I just made a couple mistakes, couple bobbles, and I think Wardy closed back up, but I started riding relaxed again and opened it up a little bit.
Well, Dave Chicken gets heat race number 1.
And the Hondas that Larry favored tonight are bound for the semifinal. Bale and Stanton get off to a bad start, but the guy that everybody came to watch tonight takes command of heat race number 2. Number 4, Damon Bradshaw out front. Number 3, Mike Kudrowski, having a pretty intense battle here with Doug Dubach, who's been kind of a hard-luck Supercross campaigner all year. If he can get past the first turn, things have gone reasonably well for Dubach, but he sure hit the dirt a bunch in this 1992 campaign. Clean pass for Kudrowski, who's been a front runner all year, but has yet to win one. I got the feeling that he's due to break through.
Yeah, he definitely is. That pass put him into 3rd place. Ronnie Tishner directly in front of him out of Palm Harbor, Florida, aboard the Tough Racing Suzuki. You're right. You know, Kudrowski has been pegged by most, I think, Supercross experts as a potential winner, even possibly a potential champion, but he just hasn't put it all together to get that first win. When he does, you know, they might come in bunches.
Bradshaw pulling away in the heat race, dominating as he has through most of this season. Kudrowski unable to maintain the pace, sits back there content with 3rd for the moment. Sees Tishner and figures, hey, maybe I can make a pass on this kid. Tishner coming back from injury, still getting back to full speed.
Heat race competitions, you might wonder, there's no money, there are no points involved, but you get a better pick on the gate the better you finish. If you win, obviously you're going to get one of the top 2 picks on the gate, whichever heat race winner is faster. That's why they work so hard in the heats, Dave.
And starting position, of course, is critical. First man to the first turn in the main event has a huge advantage, and we have seen all season that advantage has helped propel Damon Bradshaw's win streak. Tishner stands his ground. He says, I'm back, I'm healthy, and I'm ready to win. He keeps Kudrowski behind him, and I think it's a good time to point out that inspiration has a whole lot to do with this game.
Yeah, Ron Tishner last year aboard a factory Suzuki, he lost that ride, didn't live up to the expectations of Suzuki management. So this year on, well, it's not a privateer effort. Tough Racing Suzuki puts out a pretty darn good motorcycle, and Tishner, being a good rider, is doing his best to show Suzuki management that they were wrong. He wants that factory back, and he'll do whatever it takes to get there. And since coming back to the tour, coming off an injury, he has performed remarkably well.
But watch the bobble. Rear wheel locks right there for just a moment. It enables Kudrowski to double jump where Tishner singles, and Kudrowski pulls off the pass. That it puts him into 2nd spot. Tishner falls to 3rd. Have another look.
Well, you called it, Dave. The rear wheel locked up. Here comes the double by Kudrowski, and easy sailing. Big hole, big highway, as a matter of fact, and the Kawasaki goes through.
Watch, speaking of Kawasaki's, number 7, Mike LaRocco. He crashes into Doug Dubach. That allows number 10, Larry Ward, to pass. This is the battle for 5th and 6th. That's critical because they are 1 position out of a transfer spot. Dubach has the transfer, and both Ward and LaRocco want it in the worst way. twice. So they come into the next left-hander. And Larocco says, Sacco, and drills Ward. And Michael Craig says, I've had enough of this. Watch this.
Look at this.
Thing. Triple jumps himself right up into the middle of the fray. Wild action. This is when the Supercross fans get their bucks worth. Damon Bradshaw out front with a sputtering motorcycle heads for the checkered flag. He thought the ignition might be going south. Fans couldn't care less. They are thrilled to see Bradshaw win it. Kudrowski takes second after his little run-in with Ronnie Tishner, who will settle for third. And as Damon celebrates, Doug Dubach held on to get that final transfer to the main event. Let's hear from the local hero with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Damon, you made that one look pretty easy, but you don't seem real happy about it.
There's some left riders in the way. We're out there shooting to win that Camel thing, and some riders in the way, but that's racing.
You had to be pumped up with adrenaline on that first one. How long did it take you to settle down a little bit?
Well, it took a little bit. I knew the start was going to be real important, and that's what I was concentrating on.
Damon Bradshaw fired up tonight and ready to go racing, Dave. He gets heat race number 2.
Meanwhile, for Team Honda, the preparations for the semifinals are complete. Jeff Stanton would prefer not to have to race through the semi to get to the main event, but that is his fate here this evening.
A rare circumstance, Dave, as his teammate, Jean-Michel Bayle, defending champ, will be in that semi with him.
So for the second time tonight, the two Honda guys will be head-to-head. Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen and find out what the mechanics do during this period of time.
In Supercross racing, there are no pit stops. The only opportunity you have to make any adjustments to your bike is during the short intermissions. At that time, most crew chiefs will check the chain, the spokes, and the tire pressure. If everything is okay and you're having a night like Jeff Matasevich is tonight, you leave it alone. No sense in fixing something that's not broken.
Matasevich, one of 2 heat race winners, along with Damon Bradshaw, the man these folks came to see tonight. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina with Supercross. We'll be right back. For the semifinal action, we'll take the top 5 from these races. Number 111, Stefan Everts in the middle of your screen as they prepare for the gate drop. Again, the Honda teammates, Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel Bayle, among those who do battle here. Number 1, and look who he's chasing. Number 2, his teammate Stanton, but look who they're both chasing. A whole shot in the early lead for number 17. This is Jeremy McGrath, the California kid who leads the Western Region 125 championship standings. He gets on a 250. He comes to Charlotte, and he's leading the number 1 and number 2 riders in the series. What a performance.
I think probably if he stayed there, he would be the happiest man in the U.S. of A., but I really don't expect him to, because look who's knocking at the door.
You've seen these highlights before. Stanton and Bayle running about 2-3 bike lengths apart, but way behind McGrath. Hey, first, second, or third, making the main event in the 250 class is an accomplishment for one of these 125 kids. Brian Swink did it the other way around. He went to the West Coast, won a heat race.
The objective is obviously to give them a little bit of time with a 250 machine, get some time under their belt, so that when they make the switch from 125s to 250, they'll be more prime pumped and ready to go.
Is this Bayle making a pass? Yes, indeed. Bayle takes over the second spot from Jeff Stanton, and that's got to frustrate Stanton a little bit, much as he dislikes being beaten by Damon Bradshaw. He also hates the fact that Jean-Michel Bayle stopped his championship streak at 2 and took away his title last year. So Stanton is a frustrated man as he runs third in the semifinal behind Bayle and Jeremy McGrath.
You know, if we go back just 1 year ago and look at the races as the season developed in that 250 series, that's the way so often it happened. Stanton with the lead, Bayle coming from off the pace, making the pass just like he's making the pass here on Jeremy McGrath.
Boy, look how McGrath falls back so quickly. As soon as Bayle goes by, Stanton comes up and attacks. Jeremy holds his own for a moment, but you just have the sense that the reality has already set in for this kid. He's the third-place man.
You know, he was in that section of whoops. I'm sure that Jeremy McGrath said, I'm going faster than anyone in the world could go. And Bayle blows by him, and that kind of upset his rhythm. He said, where'd that guy come from? How'd he do that?
Bayle is the smoothest man, perhaps in the history of motocross. I've never seen anyone ride a motorcycle as effortlessly as JMB.
It's so hard to compare athletes from one era to another. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could have Roger DeCoster, Bob Hanna, Rick Johnson, Bayle, Stanton, put them all together at the same time on the same motorcycles?
I'd pick Jean-Michel Bayle to win, just like he did right here in this semifinal. Stanton takes the second spot. McGrath with a great ride to third is bound for the 250 main event. And rounding out the order will be Stefan Everts and Jeff Emig. Let's go trackside. Ralph Shaheen is with JMB.
Well, Jean-Michel, once you got out front, it seemed pretty easy for you, but it has not been an easy road to get there tonight.
Yeah, you know, I have some bad break in the first heat. I crashed in the second turn, so there's no way to win the race when you start very last. And so, you know, I was riding very fast, and I got a good start in the semi, so I win this one very easy. So I hope I can get a good start for the main and try to win.
Can you breathe a little easier now, knowing that you've made the transfer?
Yeah, you know, it's always a little bit hard to go to the semi, and it's better to go straight. But, you know, sometimes it's better because you have a little bit more practice, so I hope it's going to be better for me tonight.
A very businessman-like attitude for Jean-Michel Bayle tonight.
Now we go to the second semifinal in the saga of number 10, Larry Ward. From down the road in South Carolina, he's out front and leading the semifinal. You'll recall that he was involved in that brouhaha for the transfer spot in his heat race. Michael Craig battles Lance Smale for the runner-up spot. This battle did not last very long because Lance tipped over.
I'd like to be able to analyze this, but for the life of me, Dave, I don't know what he did.
He tipped over.
He tipped over.
Craig takes over the runner-up spot. But watch what happens here to the leader. Motorcycle just quit at the end of that triple jump. Craig now goes all the way to the lead. This is perfect. You're running third. People start falling over and stopping in front of you. Look at Ward. Knows exactly what to do when the motor quits. See if it's got any gas in it.
Now he's explaining to the flagman, I don't know what's wrong.
I don't know what's wrong with it. Comes into his mechanic and says, I don't know what's wrong with it. Nobody knows what's wrong with it. Our Ralph Shaheen is dispatched to the scene to try to figure out what has knocked Larry Ward out of the semi-leadership. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Here comes Ralph running with his microphone in hand. He'll plug it into the back of the camera while Ward is saying to the guy, hey, I don't know what's wrong with it.
Okay, Ralph, the moment we've all been waiting for. What's wrong with it?
Well, we thought this was going to be the Victory Circle interview here. Larry, what went wrong with the bike?
I don't know. I was coming up to that triple, and all of a sudden the bike just quit. It didn't seize, but something definitely quit in the motor. And I was lucky just not to crash off that triple jump. And I hope they can get it ready for last chance. It started back up, but there's something definitely the matter with the motor.
Well, sometimes, Dave, it's not up to the rider, but the motorcycle.
Yeah, but we still don't know what's wrong with it. Michael Craig could care less what's wrong with it. Craig inheriting the lead and the victory here in semifinal number 2. So he's going to go to the main event, and he's going to take with him number 7, Mike Morocco, who struggled in his heat but emerged as the second-place finisher. Fisher, DeHoop, and Valancourt joined the parade to the feature. Let's hear from the winner, Mike Craig.
Well, it doesn't matter how you get him as long as you get him, and you inherited this one, but you go to the main event.
Yeah, you know, I was riding there behind Larry Ward. He's riding really good tonight. I was just going to stay behind him and just, get in the qualifying position to make the main event. I think he broke a chain or something. That's good enough for me. I think my hair win too, so that would happen to him, but I think he'll end up winning the last chance qualifier.
Pretty physical racetrack out here tonight.
It's going to get real physical. These guys are fast, and go 20 laps fast as these guys go. It's going to be some top. If you can stick with those guys for 20 laps, you're doing really good.
Well, Dave, Mike Craig goes to the main event.
Meanwhile, back in the pits, don't think for a moment our crack ESPN investigative team will allow to go unanswered the question, what's wrong with it?
Get this thing ready. How much time we got?
Well, not much, guys. The last chance qualifier is coming up. My theory is in these chilly Charlotte temperatures, they may have suffered fuel line freeze-up. They're working on the motorcycle. Let's go back to Ralph Shaheen.
Dave, as we mentioned, Larry Ward has one shot left to make the main event tonight, the last chance qualifier. The crew still has not figured out exactly what is wrong with the bike. As you can see, the entire Suzuki mechanical staff working on Larry's bike right now. They are checking everything, replacing anything they can do quickly, and trying to get Larry's bike back down to the grid.
And as the pictures from the last chance qualifier indicate, they were successful, and Ward came back to win handily in his final opportunity to make the main event here tonight. So it's a Ward victory. He's bound for the championship final. The runner-up spot went to Brian McElroy. And again, here's Ralph with Larry.
Well, Larry Ward get a chance to check with the crew. They really put the gun to you, and you made it through. Is the bike all right?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not 100% sure. it's kind of bad for the confidence not knowing what your bike's going to do coming up to a big triple, but I think they got it all worked out. They got a little bit more time now, and I hope I can come back and win the main event.
Obviously, a tip of the hat to the Suzuki crew to get you back out here.
Yeah, they had to work real hard. It was a problem with they didn't know what it was. If it's something that they know what the problem is, it's a lot easier to fix. It's kind of a mystery right now, and I hope it's fixed.
Well, much more relaxed attitude of Larry Ward, knowing he's in the main event.
Compare that with the bike Ralph reported on earlier. That Kawasaki at Jeff Matasevich put gas in it. He's ready to go. We'll be right back. Stomp is the order of the day. That's all part of the procedure for getting a good start in Supercross racing. Ralph Shaheen has more.
One of the big keys to winning a Supercross race is getting a good start. Here tonight in Charlotte, you can see we have a very gravelly, grainy type of surface. Now, what most of the riders have done to help increase their starting capabilities is pack down the area near the starting gate to get it as firm as they can and cut down on the wheel spin, hoping to launch their bike out of here and down towards turn number 1.
And in a moment, we'll see that launch in the 125 main event. And the man to beat here is Brian Swink. Perfect score coming to Charlotte. He's won 4 races in 4 starts. Can anybody whip the defending series champ? That's the question as we prepare for the launch of the 125 main event. Charges on to turn number 1. Somebody else is going to win the start for sure. Number 1, Swink, is in the middle of the pack. Boom, into the hay bales go a couple of the back markers. And to the front goes number 117, Ezra Lusk, the teenage star from South Georgia. One of a couple of guys who's been able to challenge Swink periodically during the course of the season. Watch for Swink. There he comes through the inside in about 9th spot. So the front runners have a lot of catching up to do.
Right in front of Brian Swink, in fact, the rider in the number 2 position in the standings. That's Doug Henry, and he has been a factor throughout this series, but right now it's all Ezra Lusk.
Ezra's got to focus on what he needs to do here. Be consistent. Don't get excited. The kid crashes too much, but again, he's only 16 years old. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity to run in the big leagues. He certainly has the speed to race with these guys, but he's crashed out of the lead a couple of times this year, and I think with maturity, who knows, perhaps he's the next Damon Bradshaw. And I think we should mention that same inconsistency with regard to number 39, Jimmy Button. Here's a move trying to get around Chad Pedersen and makes the outside work, takes the rail. Remember that number 39 Button crashed while leading in Atlanta, crashed himself out of 3rd spot in one of the other races this year. So he too needs that consistency that Swink has had all season long.
Well, I think it's good to point out, Dave, that the 125 class is a training ground. We shouldn't forget that. You're supposed to crash now and then. I mean, you don't know how fast you can go until you take a tumble occasionally. And you're supposed to crash. You're supposed to figure out what this game is all about. They're going to be moving up to the 250 ranks in a year or so, and they're going to be that much better for all of the experience that they gain right here in this 125 class.
Well, when we watch Lusk sky shot those triples, he's at least got that part of this game figured out. Pedersen, the kid from Iowa, runs in 3rd, but clearly Button is reeling in the leader. And can you see the difference? Where's he gaining the ground?
Through the rough stuff. I think he's just a little bit, I don't want to call it wilder, but he's just he's attacking the course a little bit harder than Ezra Lusk is. Lusk is more smooth at this point.
We should make the point that Button is on a DGY Yamaha. They are the subcontractor handling the Yamaha 125 program, whereas the Suzuki of Ezra Lusk is a full factory back entry. And they're going to get side by side here in a section of the track where Button has displayed some pretty good speed.
Through that rougher part of the track where he was attacking. And again, he just kind of runs it into that corner harder and higher. He grabbed a handful of throttle coming out and took over the number 1 spot. And you can see the difference there. I think probably that section of track is better handled at a higher rate of speed. So it looked like Lusk was struggling a little bit.
Button's made a couple of key passes there, and we'll take another look at it.
Now watch him. He'll just drive hard into the corner. So he's on the gas, and he'll stay on the gas. The bike started to get just a little squirrely, but he never backed out of it. Lusk sees him out of the corner of his eye. He knows that he's trapped, had nowhere to go, and he had to get off the gas, and the pass was completed.
Button is a long long, lanky youngster from Corning, New York, probably the tallest of the active riders in the circuit right now. Look at Doug Henry. He is on the charge. He, too, has come out of the pack that included at the start #1 Brian Swink, but he's going for the front. He's in trouble. 4th place on the racetrack. He gets clobbered. Ooh, you got to hope that Henry is okay. Hit the ground hard. Motorcycle landed on top of him.
Look, Henry was kicked off the rear of the bike, misjudged the landing point, and when he landed, the front wheel just plowed into the face of that jump, and he went over hard, the bike coming down on top of him, and I'm just so happy to see him standing up. And would you believe he wants to get back on his motorcycle?
Man, I'll tell you, these guys are warriors. Here is Button. He's your leader. Big triple jump as he pulls away from Ezra Lutz. We'll be back. Carolina, Dave Despain with Larry Myers and Ralph Shaheen, watching Jimmy Button lead the 125 championship main event here. And this could be the end of the winning streak for Brian Swink, the series champion. Your second place man is Ezra Lusk, and running third is the lad from Iowa, #53. Oh, and Chad Pedersen is on the ground. Almost a replay of what happened to Doug Henry a few minutes ago, struggling to get that bike back underway. He gets it fired up. Looked like Tim Ferry went by to pick up a spot. Take another look.
The way Pedersen just nosedived into that last whoop on that whole section, Dave, looked like maybe he hit a neutral coming through there, no power, and it just put him over the bars.
That's going to move Brian Swink up to 4th spot, which is a far cry from what we've seen of the defending 125 regional champion thus far this year. He had won every race in the season to date. He got a bad start here at Charlotte tonight, and he's not been able to get within sight of #39, Jimmy Button, who is working his way through lap traffic and hoping to avoid the kind of disasters that have befallen Doug Henry and Chad Pedersen here this evening. Right now, I don't see any problems at all. Looks like this guy could hit the cruise control. Swink does not appear to be going after him.
Well, Swink is not only extremely fast, he's extremely intelligent. To catch our leader, Jimmy Button, and here he is, rider #39, it would be a major undertaking, almost an impossibility. He's going to settle back, pick off maybe 1, maybe 2 more riders if he can. He'll take whatever points he can get.
Let's check some intervals here. Back to the second place man, #117, Ezra Lusk. And then the third place rider is Tim Ferry. Those are lappers coming through. Here comes Ferry, #77, and then #1 Swink. So you get some sense of how far behind Swink is. I would think he is certainly a candidate to pass Timmy Ferry, who is a rookie in this series and certainly doesn't have Swink's experience.
Now, Swink is a champion. He wants that championship 2 years running. That's what he's being paid for. That's why Suzuki held him back 1 more year. They want that #1 plate. So he's going to, he'll just bide his time, make the pass when opportunity presents. Has a huge points lead, Dave, and that's what he wants to protect here.
That's the key thing, winning the championship. He's proven he can win races. He proved that last year, and he's won all 4 of them this year. Oh, look at the huge lead past Tim Ferry. That was a courage move.
He just grabbed a handful, went off that triple jump. Ferry must have looked to his right and said, holy cow, because Ferry definitely backed out of it. And there's the experience or inexperience factor. Ferry just let him go by. He didn't want to tangle with him at all.
I take back what I said about him not charging. That was pretty impressive. Here is #39. He, too, impressive tonight from Corning, New York. Jimmy Button, about 6 feet 3 inches worth, and reminiscent of a guy named Mike Bell. They said he was too tall for this business.
That was his nickname, Too Tall, and he always said, you know, when it comes to Supercross, the long legs, and we're looking at him right there with Button. The long legs acted as pistons for him and absorbing a lot of the moguls and the deep ruts in Supercross.
Well, the long and the short of it is that Button is going to break the Brian Swink string here this evening, ending the winning streak at 4, barring some sort of disaster on the final lap. Capacity crowd of, well, somewhere between 25 and 45,000 people, depending on whose estimates you believe. You've heard the stories about the North Carolina Highway Patrol estimating stock car crowds. Well, they picked this crowd tonight at about 45,000. Not sure there are that many seats here. Point is, it's sold out. They came to see Damon Bradshaw. In the preliminary, they're seeing a great performance from Button, who will defeat Ezra Lusk in the 125cc championship main event. Good performance for Lusk, a solid second-place ride. But the man of the hour is Jimmy Button out of Corning, New York. The DGY Yamaha will claim the first non-Swink win of the '92 season. Laska and Swink, the Suzuki teammates, settle for second and third as Button scores his first career Supercross victory. Big moment for the youngster. Tim Perry and Chad Pedersen round out the top 5. New names in the top 10 include Mike Brown, Jim Neese, Hayden Richardson, Scott Sheik, Barry Karsten. His 10th. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Jimmy, a nice smooth ride, and you end up in victory lane. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's a great feeling. I don't really know how to explain it. Bike's been working great all night. I got a really good start. Got into the lead real nice and early and just felt real comfortable from there on out and just rode my own race.
Traffic seemed to be a problem for a lot of people, but not for you tonight.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a problem. They, I think it's when they first get the blue flag for the first time, they move out of the way a little quicker than when the guys come from behind them. But yeah, everything just went great. Race went real smooth. I got a really good start. My Yamaha did one hell of a job.
Out of breath, but very happy. Jimmy Button, a 125 winner.
Button will move into contention for second place in the series standings. Swink still has the big lead, but the Henry crash tonight makes him vulnerable to an attack from Jimmy Button on the left. Ezra Laska in the middle and Brian Swink on the right. Victory circle in the 125 class at Charlotte. We'll be back to meet the hometown hero right after this. About tonight's activity at Charlotte, North Carolina, Damon Bradshaw from Mooresville and a capacity crowd of Damon Bradshaw worshipers, all indicating he's number one. Ralph Shaheen introduces us to the man of the hour.
Forget the consequences. Wide open all the time. Get the win no matter what. That was the riding style that earned Damon Bradshaw multiple amateur championships. However, that flashy win or crash riding style has worked against him since entering the pro ranks. As a rookie 2 years ago, Bradshaw won the first 2 races of the Supercross season. Then this crash broke his ankle and ended his title hopes. Last year, he was inconsistent and gained a reputation as a kid who could certainly win races, but might never win a championship. Factory Yamaha mechanic Brian Lunis is helping to change that reputation. In the past, Lunis tuned for Supercross legends Bob Hanna and Rick Johnson. Now he works for Damon Bradshaw.
He has, let's say, the roughness and the toughness about him like Bob had, and he has the savvy of dealing with the public like Rick does, and his dealing of how he reads the racetrack and other thing is pretty well a combination of Bob and Rick. So he's pretty much the next level of Bob and Rick, and that's where it's at. You know, he's dealing with the public well and everything else. So as he matures, which he has in the last year, you'll see more and more of it come to the surface. It's not something you're going to teach the guy and immediately he's going to turn that over. It's just a slow, drawn-out process.
The main thing is Brian's a real good motivator. You know, he can take me from feeling bad on a night, and he said, you know, a true champion will make this a good night, and he's a motivator. That's what I needed. I needed somebody to motivate me when I was down in the dump, and that's one of the main things Brian does well.
With Brian's help, Damon won 5 of the first 6 races this year and built a big championship points lead. In their second year together, this veteran tuner and his hot young rider become a formidable team.
We spent most of last year, I lived at his house when I was on the East Coast, and we spent a lot of time together, and that's the biggest thing. You spend a lot of time, and you have to get along with each other and know how to feel each other's emotional highs and lows. And when the guy has a low, you got to try and bring that back up. And when he has too much of an excitement level, you got to bring it down to where it's not fogging what's going on.
I think he's just, you know, gave me the guidance. You know, it really had, I didn't need anyone to teach me how to ride a motorcycle, or, you know, I needed some guidance on training. And, you know, sometimes when things get deep, you know, Brian has some good advice how to relieve me from that. And that's where he's helped me a whole lot. And he works real hard, you know, from my standpoint to get the bike to where I want it, you know. So it's, you know, a lot of different things.
If you look at a lot of the guys at 19 years old, they weren't making these kind of accomplishments that he is already. So we can see a lot more down the road with him. I mean, he's matured already, and he knows how to use his strengths and his weaknesses to his advantage right now, and I think that'll get even better as time goes on.
A young, fast, fearless rider and a tuner that knows how to win championships. That's a combination that's tough to beat.
And that combination is at the gate awaiting the start of the main event. We'll have it for you on ESPN right after this. His main event time, the fastest 20 men in the field, ready for the drop of the gate, and here we go. Charges on to turn one. The Kawasaki's, just as they did in the heat, get the whole shot. And in the middle of that pack, Damon Bradshaw, left side of your screen, number 4, black jersey, about mid-pack, as number 6, Jeff Ward, and number 9, Jeff Matasevich battle for the lead. Jeff Stanton, number 2, settles into that third spot on lap number 1. Bradshaw with a terrible start. Here's Larry Ward, who came out of the last chance qualifier, up into about 4th spot. So we've got good action early on, but wait a minute. Bradshaw has crashed, and all the way at the back of the pack, number 4, Damon Bradshaw, picks up his motorcycle and gets back into the action. Huge change of events here for the hometown favorite.
Yeah, and for the Honda riders, this is the kind of break that they needed to get themselves back into the series. We're looking at Jeff Stanton, who's running in a number 3 position. Bale is not that far off the pace, and if history repeats itself, as we have been watching all season long, neither Jeff Matasevich nor Jeff Ward are going to be able to hold on to that number 1 spot. Here comes Larry Ward, though, who just charged into the number 3 position.
Ward, remember, came out of the last chance qualifier. That's Larry Ward. Jeff Ward, 30 years old, is in his final season. Number 6, wrapping it up, and has had nothing but bad luck throughout the campaign. Matasevich, we've mentioned several times, has had the broken leg. He's coming back off that injury and doesn't yet have the staying power. So the Kawasaki's are out front for the moment. Let's see if we can go back and find. There is Bradshaw, and he must be about, I would say, 15th. He's passed about 4 or 5 riders and is definitely charging. The crowd cheering him on, but he's a long way from the front. Here's the battle right now, 3rd and 4th spot. Larry Ward, unbelievable, coming out of the last chance qualifier, now under a lot of pressure from Stanton, who almost had him set up there and then bobbled.
This is the shortest track on the circuit, the shortest that we'll see all season long. Now, that might work in Jeff Matasevich's favor. Remember, he gets tired. Stanton makes the pass. He takes over that number 3 position for the second time tonight. Let me just quickly say that Matasevich may not fade, certainly will not fade as quickly as he has been. He's going to be able to hold on longer.
The race will not be as long because the lap times are shorter. That will work for the advantage of Jeff Matasevich. Stanton in the 3rd spot. Still has some catching up to do. No sign yet of his teammate. There's a glimpse. Jean-Michel Bale is the 5th place man. He too got a mediocre start. He too has picked up the tempo and is now closing in on Ward. And again, the smooth style of Bale.
Jean-Michel Bale setting in the number 5 position, watching what is happening in front of him. And Bale getting a handful of throttle, cutting to the inside, not quite enough. But Bale does not want that lead group to get away from him, Dave. He's going to do whatever he can to pass Ward as quickly as he possibly can.
And so as Bale puts the pressure on Ward, we've got Kawasaki's and we've got Hondas and we've got Suzuki up front. No sign of the Yamaha of Damon Bradshaw. The bike that has dominated the series is stuck in the back after an early crash. Matasevich is your leader. Ward is in the 2nd spot, about to come under heavy pressure from Jeff Stanton. Ward and Bale rounding out the top 5. We'll be right back. The Speed World brings you AMA Camel Supercross competition. Pick a Jeff. Jeff Matasevich, Jeff Ward, and Jeff Stanton having a battle for supremacy here, and Matasevich is holding on, but there's the move by Jeff Stanton. Is he going to get to the inside, take the spot from Ward? He does. He drops Jeff Ward back to 3rd, and I got a feeling this is that inevitable fade we talked about, although maybe it's just Stanton picking up the tempo.
Well, out of the 3 riders that are running up front, Jeff Stanton is the one that has the most to gain, and I have to think he's the one that wants it the most. Now, here comes Jean-Michel Bale. He's already picked off Larry Ward. He's picked off Jeff Ward, and now climbing down the back end of Stanton. It's going to be a 2-rider battle before this is over. They're both going to get around Matasevich. You can put that in the bank, Dave.
So the Hondas are on the charge here, as Larry Myers predicted they would be. Matasevich alone out front now to try to stand the heat. Stanton moves up, puts the pressure on, looks to the outside. Bale will sit back and take the measure of the competition. No, it's not there. And Matasevich is doing a good job so far, but you can almost feel the inevitability of the pass as Stanton looks to the inside.
Every corner. Block pass. Look at this.
Oh, Bale has passed them both. Stanton made the the move on Matasevich. Bale said, watch this, guys. And Jean-Michel Bale takes the lead from his teammate Stanton. Here's how it happened.
Here it is. Now, Stanton is moving out to block Matasevich. He puts on a good block pass, but he loses all of his momentum in the process. Bale squirting by on the inside, says opportunity is knocking. I'll answer that door. He takes the lead.
Great move by Jean-Michel Bale. That's why he's the series champ. We've speculated, a lot of people have speculated about his degree of motivation this year. He is not the most popular guy in these pro-American times. It is not fun to see a Frenchman come and take home all the money. But here in Charlotte, he's gotten a somewhat warmer reception.
I think so, and deservedly so. He has to be ranked as the #1 motocrosser or supercrosser in the world today. He certainly is the smoothest. Not the most fun to watch because he just does everything so smoothly.
Makes it look so easy. The Honda's out front. This guy's getting his entry fee worth tonight. He's ridden every lap you can ride. Heat race, semifinal, last chance qualifier, and now Larry Ward is running third in the main event. Great performance for the kid from Seattle. But now news that Jeff Matasevich has crashed. He had led the race here tonight, and the immediate concern is that he might have rebroken that leg that has caused him so much problem over the last 6 months. Bradshaw continuing his charge toward the front. He's alongside and past Sean Kalos, and quickly makes a similar move on Jeremy McGrath as Bradshaw, well, he didn't get by McGrath. Bradshaw really driving the crowd nuts as he heads for the front. Now here, the short racetrack is going to work against Damon Bradshaw because he doesn't have as much time to catch up as he might on one of the longer tracks. Further news on the Matasevich situation. A report now that he does have an injured thigh, but it is not the same leg that he had broken before. That was the immediate concern, that he might have rebroken that femur. That is not the case. The injury is to Matasevich's opposite leg, and they will take him to the hospital for x-rays. Let's hope that he didn't break the other leg. The fact that he's on his feet indicates to me that that's probably not the case. Bale and Stanton lead. Larry Ward third. Fourth is Kedrowski. This is the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Number 6, Jeff Ward, has the spot. Dubach and Cooper go side by side, and Cooper makes the pass. He is now 6th and sets his sights on Jeff Ward. I hate to see Jeff Ward backing up like that. I want him to win one more Supercross before his career is over.
Cooper is a rider on the charge. Good to point out that he started well outside the top 10. As a matter of fact, he was somewhere around 14th or 15th place at the end of the first lap, and he has really moved through the pack.
And Damon Bradshaw, for the record, is the next man behind this battle, so he too has passed an awful lot of people. Jean-Michel Bale continues to lead and is en route to what could be his first win of the year. Damon Bradshaw is playing catch-up for the hometown fans at Memorial Stadium in Charlotte. He who won 5 in a row early in the season is struggling tonight. Bale, look at
Bale out front, Dave. Good to point out that out of all the fans that are here, I'll bet there aren't more than 15 of them that are watching this battle for the lead. They're all watching Bradshaw move to the pack.
That's an excellent point. And as we check an interval back to the third place man, Larry Ward, we take a quick break and come back to see who's going to win it in Charlotte. Memorial Stadium, watching number 4, Damon Bradshaw, charge into 8th position now, working on Doug Dubach, number 12, who is 7th. Damon, a native of Charlotte, now lives out on nearby Lake Norman in Mooresville, North Carolina, shares a hometown with Dale Earnhardt. Looking back over his shoulder, I think Dubach knows what's coming.
You know, if I were Dubach, I think I'd get out of the way. And they are Yamaha teammates, but Dubach was not going to do that. Bradshaw made the pass, but he had to work for it every inch of the way.
Damon into 7th spot now. Jeff Ward will be the next man in his sights. Ward having faded from 2nd. Jean-Michel Bale leads the race. Jeff Stanton has not been able to come up and challenge him. The defending series champion appears in position to win his first of the season. Bradshaw now 7th, working on Ward in 6th spot. And you're right, Larry, everybody in the place is cheering his every move. Nobody's paying attention to those Hondas out front. This is perhaps the best ride we've seen from Damon this year. It's the first time he's had fast.
No two ways about it. And he makes the pass on Ward. He moves up one more position, and every position is extremely important. He is going to lose a ton of points tonight to the 2 Honda riders that are chasing him in the chase for the championship.
Next man in Damon Bradshaw's sights is Guy Cooper. Cooper runs 5th, matching the number plate on his Suzuki, and it's a pretty good gap back to Damon. I'm not sure that Bradshaw will be able to pick up another position. And you make a good point about the points, Larry. When Damon was winning 5 in a row, Bale, number 1, and Stanton, number 2, were running 2nd and 3rd. So really, Damon wasn't able to build that big a lead. He came in with a 26-point advantage, and as they enter the white flag lap, the last lap, if he finishes 6th, he will lose 10 points. He can improve on that a little bit if he can get around Guy Cooper, and that may be the only drama left here as Stephon Everts looks back over his shoulder and falls on his head.
That's another one of those tip-overs.
Never look back. That was Satchel Paige's rule. There's the evidence of why. Here is the leader.
Something might be gaining on you, and in that case, it was Bale.
Yeah, Bale headed for the checkered flag as he prepares to wrap it up here in Charlotte and wrap it up with comparative ease. I thought Stanton might come up and challenge him. Stanton didn't have the speed, but it'll be a Honda sweep, and that is the big news. Jean-Michel Bale, the defending series champion, wins in Charlotte. And look at this. On the final lap, Bradshaw's going to make a run at Cooper and the points he represents.
Fastest rider on the racetrack, no two ways about that, has been Damon Bradshaw all night long. Can he catch Cooper? That's the question.
One more corner and a couple of jumps between them and the checkered flag. Cooper comes around. I don't think he's got the stuff to do it. Settling for 6th spot. Damon Bradshaw turns in a great ride from the back of the pack. He thrilled the crowd tonight, but he certainly didn't do what he came here to do.
Well, that rider did. Jean-Michel Bale being congratulated by his mechanic, Cliff White. They came here to interrupt the win streak, and they did it admirably.
And it's a Honda sweep, in fact. Larry Ward takes 3rd. Kudrowski 4th. Cooper 5th. There's Bradshaw in 6th. Ward, Dubach, Kalos, and McGrath round out the top 10. Let's hear from the winner.
Tell me a little bit about this racetrack. It really suited your riding style here tonight because you're such a smooth rider, and that's what this track demanded tonight.
Yeah, you know, it was a very difficult track and very slippery, so it was very easy to make a mistake. So I was riding very smooth, very well, and I make a good job through the traffic, and you know, I take the lead, you know, very fast because I have a very bad start. So, but you know, I'm very happy because I won very easy this race. It was not easy to win, but you know, I have a good lead, so I feel very happy.
It was a very demanding mental night for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have some trouble in my qualify. I crashed, so it was a little bit, you know, stuff, and it's my first win for the year, so I'm very happy, and you know, I was waiting for a long time, and now I think everything's going to be a lot better.
Well, Jean-Michel Bale fought back from adversity tonight, Dave, and he is the winner here in Charlotte.
Thank you, Ralph. The Honda guys take 10 points off Bradshaw's lead, and again, the question, Larry, is this a turning point?
It is indeed a turning point. Damon Bradshaw is going to have to come back and back strong to halt the momentum now that Bale and Stanton have. I think we're looking at a whole new ball game.
We'll find out if he can do that next week as we move on to Indianapolis, Indiana for the next round of the AMA Camel Supercross Series. For Larry Myers and Ralph Shaheen, I'm Dave Despain. So long from Charlotte.